So one of the comments that I hear most of the time is, gosh, the market's terrible. And the truth is, the market isn't really bad or good. There's only three different types of real estate markets. You essentially have a buyer's market, a seller's market, and then a transitional market. And so a buyer's market is really highlighted by falling prices. And as you can imagine, that's what we're dealing with these days. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how to price your home in this market and when. Basically, when I go to speak with someone about their house and how to market it and getting it sold today, one of the questions that I always ask them is, what's most important to you in the sale of your home? Is it the amount of time that it takes to sell your house, or is it the amount of money that you get? Truth of the matter is, that's a trick question, or a loaded question, probably a better way to say that. But I want to talk a little bit about why today. So I'm going to give you a whiteboard demonstration that'll explain that in great detail. So as we talked about, in a seller's market, prices are rising. So you can see here on my whiteboard from 2000 up until about 2007, prices in Wilmington were rising, and that was called a seller's market. So in that market, that's a very fair question. If you were to tell me in that market that the most important thing to you is the amount of time it takes to get your home sold, then I would say price your house right at market value, and it'll probably be gone in 30, 45 days. I can remember times where we thought that we were pricing a house above market value actually, and we had like 15 offers in 4 days. So if you were to say the most important thing to me is money, and this would be between 2000 and 2007 in a seller's market, then I would encourage you to overprice your house by maybe about 10% or 12%, and the market would come to you. It might take 4 or 5 months to get your home sold, but over time you'd ultimately get your price. In today's market, though, it's a loaded question, and here's the reason. What most agents are allowing their clients to do is try and squeeze every last dollar they can out of their house. And what happens is about 30 days go by, or 45 days, and they decide to reduce the price a little bit. Well, if this black line represents the falling house prices, you can see that what happens is they just keep reducing it and staying right on the edge of the market, and they follow the market down. Some of you may have heard of this in stock market context because people talk about it all the time when they're trying to sell a stock and the value's falling. Well, housing is about the same way. What happens is after about 12 or maybe 18 months of reducing the price just a little bit and a little bit, they get down to a point where they're really desperate and they need to sell their house. And when that happens, what they do is they get really motivated and they drop the price below market value. So once they drop the price below market value, it sells because it really stands out among the other houses. Unfortunately, if they just had the courage to do that up here when they first listed the house, get it priced below market value, priced better than the other comparable homes around it, ultimately they would have saved this amount of money. Sometimes that's $10,000, sometimes it's $100,000. But what I call this little phenomenon here, where they're chasing the market down, is death by 1,000 price cuts.